sorry about this.
Don't you dare apologise. Thanks to you, we can afford to get the other car fixed. Tell him, boys.
Yeah,
Appreciate it,
Dad.
Whatever. Love you.
Love you, darling.
Oh, and tell your boss, I hope she gets heart disease.
Morning, Ted. Hey, Higgins.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special episode of the Richmond Way. With me today, as always, is Bonnie over here somewhere on the screen, and then a very special guest, also somewhere on the screen, depending on where you are, is Mrs. Well, I don't know, Mary Roscoe,
Yes.
who you may know as Julie Higgins in Ted Lasso. Welcome, Mary. Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on.
Lovely to see you.
Yeah,
Thanks
well,
for having me.
we appreciate you coming on to the show today, and as you can see, we're big fans of.
I've just noticed you're wearing a Diamond Dogs t-shirt. Oh, great. Yeah, absolutely. I want one of those. I don't think we got any of those. But we do get merchandise, obviously, but I think those t-shirts are sold somewhere. I don't know where you get them. Did you go on some special
Yeah,
website?
this was by an artist that's called Graffiti Designs, and then he had designed it, so I went and found it for it. But yeah, I've kind of like reappropriated Diamond Dogs for like different stuff too, like with my mini Schnauzer.
Oh,
She's on this, and so like when
oh,
I
that
do,
is so cute.
yeah. So
Love it.
the Diamond
Oh,
Dogs lives on in many things. It's like a work in progress. It's all
oh
over
yeah.
the place.
Oh my goodness. I have to say it's quite astonishing for us how the Americans have so embraced this show. And obviously there's reasons for that because it's been created by one of the most wonderful teams of people, not all American but predominantly Jason and Bill and yet the Brits have been very slow to take us up to their hearts. They're getting there now. I think it's something to do with downloading an app. We are utterly honestly, they are pathetic. They go, "Oh, you're in that Ted Lasso. Oh, yeah, I can't get that." And I go, "No, it's because you haven't downloaded the app." It's just bonkers. I know. So we're progressive in many ways in this country, but when it comes to things like that, everyone goes, "Oh, well, I've got Netflix. What else do I need?"
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh,
we
that's
do our
incredible.
best.
Yeah, I've said to Bonnie, I'm like I only know, like I have one friend, Daz, who lives like in Manchester, who's like the only UK based Ted Lasso fan I know outside of Bonnie's friend who does the tour
Emmy
in
does the
Richmond.
Ted
Yeah,
Lasso tours, yeah.
Ah,
And I got to
oh,
go on that when I went last year. It was great.
did you? Oh, well, I really tell you, I went to the theatre the other night in Richmond, at the Richmond Theatre with my husband, Mr. Higgins. Well, obviously, I don't call him that. And, and in the interval, I was standing in the queue for the ladies, and this woman just went crazy. She said, "Oh my God." She said, "I've just been on the tour, and now you're standing in the queue for the ladies." I said, well, we've come to see the show, and I think the tour is I mean, I'm almost tempted to go in disguise and just see what they do, because apparently it's taken over Richmond and changed the people I know who live in Richmond say Richmond is just Ted Lasso, now known as Richmond slash Ted Lasso tours. It's on the Google map and everything, so it's taking over. It's amazing.
yeah,
Highly recommend. It's very fun. It's
I hope
very
Okay.
fun.
to make the pilgrimage there someday myself.
Oh.
But speaking of pilgrimages, I guess we can kind of start with like basically like your journey to like becoming an actress and whatnot.
Okay.
Yeah. So like you're an actress, a philanthropist, like all around awesome person.
Oh, that's very
So
kind of you. I
Coming
do.
from Mark, that's a big deal.
Oh, is it?
well, thank you.
Yeah, I do. I work very hard for a couple of charities actually, and I enjoy it very, very much. I think as you get older, as I've got older anyway, I like the idea of doing something to give something back. And I grew up in Zimbabwe. I was born there, and it was a very, very privileged existence. and I wasn't very aware of what was going on until I came to London to train as an actress. And I started to understand that I came from this community that was, a white colonial superpower. And I was suddenly thrust in much more diverse culture, a very political culture. In those days, drama schools were very political. You didn't. I guess they might still. In fact, they might even be more so. I don't know. But there was a sense in the 80s that you wanted to try and change the world a bit, and feminism was on the rise. And obviously, there was a lot of anti-apartheid, anti-racism, and very quickly I started to understand what my background was about. And so I now I've only been back once to Zimbabwe in 25 years. I went back last year, and I try to help and I try to do as much as I can to give back. And the charity that I'm most involved with is called SafetyCurtain, and we look after actors outside of the UK. I think we're the only charity that does this in the world. We've googled it. We can't find anybody else who's doing this, and we help actors who are basically struggling to just do their craft and live their lives. And I'm proud to say I have got a Zimbabwean theatre company that I have approached and got, and I feel that's the least I can do. And we help them create the most wonderful music and dance, and they do send us their videos on Facebook, and it's a joy to behold. And of course, we're involved in places like Ukraine and Belarus and Gaza at the moment, and yeah, places where people are, Syria, really struggling to exist as a performer and artist. Of course, there are people struggling in all sorts of fields, but that's our specificity. And we are all actors, and we all do it from the goodness of well, the goodwill that we want to show back, give back. So yeah, so that's that bit of my life. And in other parts of my life, I'm an executive coach. So I've been a business coach now for nearly 20 years. And it's something that I love doing alongside acting. They are very translatable and transferable skills. I mainly coach people who want to improve in confidence levels, who want to give presentations and they're terrified. Presentations comes about fourth on the list of things people are most frightened of.
Hmm.
Just after divorce and death and moving house is giving a presentation.
Public
And
speaking. Yeah, that's real.
yeah,
Hmm.
very real, Bonnie. I think people feel the ultimate vulnerability of it, of course, is that you're going to stand up and you're going to be rejected by your audience. And that is a very fundamental, primal thing to feel in life. We all want to be accepted and understood and maybe even loved if we're lucky. And that presentations tip into that area. And so I hope I make a difference and I help people to be the better version of themselves. And that is a joyous part of my life. And I was actually doing something this afternoon, so the office was already set up for when I was coming to see
Nice.
you.
Where
Yeah.
can people find info about either of those things they want to? Because we'll put some stuff up on the
Show
screen
notes
Oh,
will
for
link
yeah.
everything. Yeah,
oh,
backlink, SEO, you got it. Yeah.
that's gorgeous. Well, what I will do at the end of this is I'll put it back on our Insta feed together. Shall I do it that way? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So if you're
yeah.
watching this in the future, you're seeing it right here somewhere on the screen right now.
We'll fix it in post.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. But I've got a very sweet story about how I became Julie Higgins, if you would like to hear that.
Yeah.
Yes, every story you want to tell. So here for it.
Okay. Well, when my husband Jeremy got the job of Higgins, I was so delighted for him. I couldn't have been more delighted. The scripts, well, there were a few. There weren't many at the beginning. I think he really read the pilot, and off everybody sailed into the unknown, as you do with any new series, comedy or whatever it is. And about two episodes in from they were filming, I got a call from my agent saying, "Oh, the casting director would like to meet you for just a few. There's a few parts that they're just casting as they go along. Obviously they had the main team." And so I went in to meet the wonderful Theo, and she got me to read for about 5 different parts. Anyway, a week later, I hadn't heard anything. So I thought, okay, that's how it goes. I'm used to it. And I thought, well, I gave them a little mini show reel at the end of the day. That's out there. And Anyway, about a week after that, Bill Lawrence, who was the lead producer at the time, walked into Jeremy's dressing room and said, "Jeremy, can I ask you, how well do you get on with your wife?" And it was one of those questions. How do you answer it? Was it a trick question? And so he was very discreet, and he just said, "Yeah, well, we're not planning to divorce anytime soon, so I think, yeah, I could say I get on well with my wife." And he said, "Well, we've seen this video she made for Theo, and we're thinking maybe Higgins should have a wife." So now this is into the third episode of the first season, and they hadn't decided that, which is interesting, isn't it? Because I think everyone who doesn't know what's going on behind the scenes thinks that it's all plotted out, but it really wasn't plotted out. And so I landed the part of Julie purely by that lovely interchange with Bill and my husband just going, because I guess they had to check. I mean, can you imagine if we really
Oh yeah.
didn't like to work with each other? It would be a disaster. And I turned up on set, and not only did I get to work with my gorgeous husband, but I was given 4 sons who were all gorgeous and so much nicer than my own children. And I fell in love with them instantly. And I was very sad to leave them behind. And it was just from that moment on, and I knew I wouldn't become a huge part in it, but I love the idea as they were growing the series that they realized that he represented, if you like, the older, wiser, more mature, someone who had found love in his life, or at least a consistently good relationship, and had stability. Whereas, as you know, in the series, there's a lot, everybody's trying things out and failing, and Ted is suffering in his own way with his separation, and of course Rebecca goes on a huge journey, as does Keely and Roy, and indeed even Nate. So I think we realised that we had this lovely role of being the sort of solid, the suburban family. I said to my husband, "We cannot divorce until this is over, because we've got 3 seasons. We got to get through this." And and as I think a lot of people have said to us, the Christmas episode was for so many people, for so lots of reasons, not just the Higgins story, but a sort of touchstone for people, because it came at the end of the COVID. We were all coming out and going back into lockdowns and coming out again. And there was something about that episode that seems to have really touched people's hearts. We get messages still, even though that's a few years ago now, about how that episode, they want to watch it every Christmas. They feel it it spoke to them for so many reasons. So that is how I came to be Julie Higgins.
Was this the
that's
first time
wonderful.
you guys have worked together in
No,
anything?
actually, Mark, we have had the good fortune. A few years back, we worked with a documentary drama director, and he cast us both. First of all, he cast us because we were right for parts. But then after we'd done one show with him, he said, "I love working with you two together. You're so supportive of each other, and it just anchors everything." And so we did 3 more shows with him. They're on our IMDb profiles. You can see them. And he was called Norman Hull. And they were drama documentaries made for the BBC. So they were done in very nice quality, and they were great stories. And what else have we done together? I think it's mainly those, but we did meet in the theatre. We did a theatre show together, and that's how we first met. Yeah,
That's great.
long time ago. So yes. So that it's been an absolute joy to have the Ted Lasso family with us. I mean, when we came, the last big, there won't be any more award ceremonies for us, because obviously we have no more series to go up for. So our last big goodbye was the SAG Awards, as you know, which were in February. And that night, as that night was approaching, Jason said, "Look, we're not going to win anything because the Bear is going to smash it again." And we all went, "Okay." And he said, "Why don't we all wear a Richmond tracksuit? Nike have offered to make them, to give you all one and give you some shoes."
Right.
And we all went, "What? No, I want to wear my nice glamorous dress." That was me and Hannah anyway. And I think Juno, we're like, "No way." And even Jeremy said to him, look, Jason, I will just look like someone out of The Sopranos if I turn up in a I just like Big Julie or whatever, Hi guys, So he was like adamant he could not turn up in a tracksuit for the SAG Awards. So fortunately, we talked Jason out of it. But then he had the very good idea that we would go to the party in those tracksuits. And actually, that was a stroke of genius because, with respect to the bear, we stole the party. We arrived, a bank of, I've never seen so many packs. There were about 50 photographers. They loved the story of it. They loved how we all looked. And we had a great time celebrating after we got out of our gowns and our suits. And we got and then we could really dance in the tracksuits as well. It was a perfect thing to do. And then the next day, we were recovering by the pool, and I noticed that someone had written to Nick Mohammed and said, "Oh, I just love these tracksuits, and my name's Laura Richmond, and can I please have one of these tracksuits?" And I don't know what possessed me. I've never done this on anybody else's feed, but I replied to her on Nick Mohammed's feed, and I said, "Hi, Laura. You're certainly welcome to mine. I think we're probably about the same size," because she'd sent a photo. And I said, "But the only thing is, you have to make a donation to my charity." And she did. And I sent her the tracksuit, and £650 later, my charity was a little bit richer. And she lived up in North England, so I posted it to her. It was very easy to do it. And there was a gorgeous story behind that because, in fact, she wanted to give it to her sister-in-law, who very sadly has cancer and is not going to recover from it, and wanted to have a photograph in the Richmond tracksuit because it was her favorite show and got her through all her cancer treatments. I mean, she didn't tell me this at the time. She said, "I didn't want to emotionally sway you in case there were other people. There were other people who were interested in the tracksuits as well." But there was something about her when she wrote to me. I thought, "No, I like the sound of this woman. I'm going to give her the tracksuit, and as long as she pays up." And she was very honest and dutiful. And then she told me the story, and of course, I was just my heart just broke into two. And I said, "Oh my goodness, I couldn't imagine a better place for it to go." So I'm now on a mission to get rid of all the merchandise that we get given, and it sits. I'm just never going to wear that tracksuit again, and
Oh, yeah.
raise money for good causes. So I've got to get the others on board now. I've got to get Hannah and Gino and everybody else on board as well. So
Nice.
that's her mission for me this year.
Oh,
Nice.
that's
Yeah,
lovely.
I shared one of the ones you posted, I think yesterday from when we're recording this for the shoes. So
Oh, thank
yeah,
you, Mark. Did you share? That was sweet of you.
yeah,
That's wonderful. Yeah, I mean, we were all given 2 pairs of Nike boots, and I bet half the cast are not wearing them or don't like them or whatever. I actually do like mine, but we've got tons of stuff. Honestly, just sitting in literally as I'm talking to you, there's a cupboard here with just shelves of merchandise, and
oh wow,
it's what's the point? It's got to go. It's got to be someone else would love it. And I sent someone a Believe poster, and he sent me a picture, and he's got it over his front room door, and he says it just gives him a little spring in his step every morning. He looks up at it and he touches it. He goes to work, and
nice.
it's nice, isn't it, to share the
Yeah,
stuff around. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So are
So
you?
I have a question. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. No, you go.
No,
You
no.
go. I
I was
talk all the time. No, no, no.
I
It's
would
okay.
like to know your question. Come on, Bonnie, go
Uh,
for it.
okay. Well, twist my arm. I would love to know because I'm an actor. I started in theater and then made my way into voiceover, and that's what I do full time now. But I would love to know what it was that made you want to be an actor. And I think that's a question a lot of actors get, but we don't always get to talk about it. So I would love to hear what it was that inspired you to do it and to keep doing it.
Oh gosh, Bonnie. Well, Bonnie, it's a quite a cheesy answer, really, but and in fact, it's linked even to the SAG Awards. It was Barbara Streisand.
Look, I love her, so that's a great answer.
Yes, I think it was perfect timing. I was probably about 9 years old, and my mum took me to see Hello Dolly, and I
Mhm.
literally just sat in the cinema and thought, "Is she doing? I want to do that." And I remember I came home and I tried on hats and dresses and I sang for. I am a singer and I was in Les Miserables, the film, and I've sung for years, but I'm not Hannah Waddingham's level. I mean, let's face it. But I don't really need to be, if you see what I mean, because for me, it's something I just love to do when I've got a good acting role. For years, when I was in theatre, I would be an actor who could sing rather than
Yes.
a singer who could act. And in fact, that's why I
Exactly.
joined. Exactly. So you know the difference. And when I joined Les Miserables, the cast for the film, there were only three of us who had never been in the musical because we were theatre actors and not musical actors. And
Mhm.
I remember meeting Hannah then for the first time, and she said, "Oh, I want to do more of what you do." And sure enough, here she is, which was lovely. And I
Oh.
think what I think happened was I've always wanted to be expressing myself, and fortunately, my parents were really into it. They were both amateur dramatic actors in Zimbabwe. They both enjoyed it. They loved plays. I always went to the theatre with my mum and dad. And so it was in me somewhere to find it. I also had asthma as a child and I couldn't do sport. And in
Mhm.
Zimbabwe, it's a bit like Australia, if you know any of that culture. It's sports crazy. I mean,
Mhm.
everybody. My dad was the coach for the national hockey side, so everybody I knew played hockey, or everyone played some kind of sport or swam. And I had asthma, and I think I found drama a way to express myself and be good at something that didn't kind of bring on an asthma attack. It
Yeah.
kind of simple, really, isn't it? But and I got a lot of attention for it, which when you're young, I think goes quite far. I'm pleased to tell you that I'm less needy of that now. I'm much calmer about it all now because I think having been an actor since I was about 9. So when I was in Zimbabwe, I did lots of acting as a child and I had my own TV show and I had my own radio show because it's a very small community for the white people involved. It wouldn't be like that now, quite rightly. And so by the time I got to London, I was 17. I was very young to go to drama school. I was almost the youngest in my year. And I'd already done tons of acting. Whereas I'd met the people on my course who had never acted before, but just thought they'd try it when they left school. So we all get there in our own way. And I think I do quite a lot of work around resilience, Bonnie. And I think that is one of the most important qualities you have to have is first of all, to understand that it's going to come and go, it's going to ebb and flow. And the most important thing is if you can believe in yourself and enjoy it when you're doing it and have something else to do. Because that's the big thing. I have never ever sat around waiting for my agent to ring me. And I think that's where the executive coaching comes in and my charity work, and I teach as well. I teach in a film school in London, and so I just enjoy doing lots of things. And then when the acting comes, it's a bonus, and I'm hopefully ready for it. So yeah, how about you? How do you find the sort of sticking at it, Bonnie?
Bills. No, but uh,
No, you've got to pay the bills.
you
Yeah.
gotta pay the bills. I've been an actor since I was little, and I did TV and film after doing theater, and then they didn't know what to do with me. They said, "You're too big to be the girl next door, but you're too small to be like the quote unquote fat funny friend." So nobody knew what to do with me. So I said,
That's crazy.
screw this.
Yeah.
Exactly. So then I
Yeah.
started doing voiceover full time and I said, nobody cares what I look like. I can play little boys, which I do quite often. I play little
Yeah.
boys and their moms in voiceover, but
Love your
that's
versatility.
it's
Yeah.
it's fun. And that's where I started.
So
And that's what I've
good.
been doing. And a lot of it is this is all I've ever wanted to do. Since I was
Mm.
little, I wanted to be an actor. That I
Well,
get
you're
to
doing
still
it.
be an actor.
Yeah, yeah. You're doing
And it's
it.
just
You're
yeah.
you're
a-
being
And
creative. Yeah. I
and
mean,
it's fun.
Bonnie Marie, I think those things about, well, you're this or you're not and everything are a sort of way of for people to sort of get rid of us when they can't find another reason to tell us that they've chosen someone else. And I'm really not bothered about people choosing someone else. I always go, it's fine. It went another way. So be it. It didn't land, like it should for me right now. I think people find it very hard without coming up with some ridiculous reason why they haven't cast you. And really, it's just subjective in that moment. They somebody else fitted who they had in their mind or who the writer. So often it comes that way, doesn't it? A writer will go, I don't see it like that. And you know what? It's just about staying in the game. And you have stayed in it. And also, you're very versatile by the sounds of it. So if you want to be one day out there visible, go for it. Try again. You know, just don't believe those. Those are beliefs and messages that someone wants you to believe that aren't true. Actually, if that makes
Mhm.
sense.
No, it does, and I've been pondering my return back, but voiceover's been keeping me busy, so until
Yeah.
then but I've started doing producing and everything, but this isn't about me, this is about you. But thank you for that. I think that's there's so
Yeah.
many overlaps between the lessons we learn from theater and being an actor, you have to basically be a small business owner because we have it's show business, you know?
Yeah.
Um I know you know, but there's
Yeah.
so many lessons we learn from theater school and being an actor that we can apply to our daily lives. So I think everything you just shared is an inspirational pep talk for everybody, actor or
Oh,
not. So thank you for that.
that's a pleasure. That's a pleasure. And Mark, how do you come to be Coach Beard today?
Well, from I guess from good genes as far as my face, but not
You
for my
certainly got the
head.
beard.
Um, yeah, yeah, you can tell Brendan if he ever needs a stunt double. There you go.
Stand in? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm usually, at least for me, I'll just do my stuff quick because um, I'm usually like behind the scenes kind of stuff. So I've done I've worked on a bunch of the commercial TV, like some film stuff, like behind the scenes, like doing production assistant stuff or like audio for like live American football games. So stuff like yeah,
Ah,
so but
great. So is that how you first did you first see Jason do his Ted Lasso when he was using it in the football games? Did you know
so
about
I think I saw those originally. Up and so I watched season one, and between season one and season two, I was just trying to like satiate the lasso appetite. So I was like looking for other stuff online, and I found those like NBC Sports things. Uh, and then when we started this, I guess Bonnie and Mike hadn't seen them, so that was fun because I got to show them those for the first time with that too. And it's funny watching those now compared to the series because you can see how like that version of Ted is kind of more lead Tasso than the
yeah.
Ted Lasso. Um,
That's nice. Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, this is the thing, it evolved. It wasn't all in anybody's head because it was a character that had grown out of SNL and all of that comedy improv stuff. Brendan and Jason had this, great relationship and friendship, which endures still to this day. They're very, very close, and they just knew that there was something in that character that could turn up in a comedy situation, but actually also make people really think about how they're living their lives. And when they all went to the White House a couple of years ago, was it only last year? Gosh, at time I can't work out when they actually went. Maybe it was only last year. But the Biden said to them, "We know that the mental health issues in the program have been incredibly important to people. We were getting messages from people saying this has got me through whatever a very bad time or some terrible medical treatments or social anxiety and all the things that Ted brings out of his character, as well as other things that are going on for others. And I think that was bold and brave of the series because it could have stayed just with the fun of an American guy doesn't get British football rules, but actually, how long could that have gone on for before it would have become a bit of an old joke? So I think they were very smart about how they played the stories out and how they grew the characters. Yeah. And so, we don't know what's happening in the future yet. I was wondering whether that might be on your minds, but nobody knows. What what Jeremy has done is they've all signed another option, but I think that everybody does that. I think Apple and Warner Brothers and that they just keep options open. Doesn't mean anything. Can't read anything into it really. Um, and everybody's gone off and are doing lovely things, and Jeremy's making a film at the moment in Edinburgh, which will actually open in America first. It's called Peter, and it's about a little boy who's got magic powers around growing pumpkins. So I think it's going to become a sort of Halloween kids movie in America when it opens. And look out for that. I think it's gorgeous script, very funny, and he's playing a kind of mad scientist in it. So he's yeah he's
yeah, I
he's
can already
he's
visualize that.
Yeah, so everybody's gone on to do lovely things, and I'm auditioning for all sorts of great projects at the moment. I couldn't be happier. Waiting to land one, and that's what I'm saying to you, Bonnie Marie. It's just like it will happen when it's right
Yeah.
to happen. I never get into a state of thinking it won't, because experience now tells me it does when it does. you
Yeah.
know, you
Yeah.
just got to kind of stay. I don't mean just staying positive. That's a bit of a cliche. I mean, just stay present, enjoy your life. We've got so much to be grateful for in our lives, haven't we? We're not living in Gaza right now. Let's face it, let's be honest. And our lives are very blessed and rich with wonderful, opportunities. And we travel and we've got lovely friends and a beautiful home. And I just think, I'll get that acting job when it's got my name on it. As indeed it was
Hmm.
that day Bill Lawrence walked in and said, we think we want Mary to play Julie Higgins. Well, there you go. I hadn't solicited for it. I knew nothing about it. Sometimes that's the way it
Hmm.
happens.
Was
Beautiful.
Great.
was I guess to wrap up with some of that too, is that was there any is there anything that, as far as you two, is that kind of mirrored like real life for like how you portrayed it in the show too, as far as like your relationship, or is it completely
No, it,
one
it
eight one?
it's ridiculously accurate. In fact, when we were cooking together in the I mean, cooking, miming. Well, we were
Yeah.
actually chopping potatoes and
Okay.
Christmas dinner things. Remember, in the kitchen scenes at the back of when all the boys are playing those crazy games. Um, the lovely director Declan turned to Jeremy and said, "You and Mary seem to be able to do this very without any help from me at all." And Jess said, "Well, this just is our life, actually. This is like we're not acting really. We were chatting away about something as if, and then we suddenly realized we're filming. It was very easy. It was, fortunately, um, we both have uh, always enjoyed each other's sense of humor, and I think the secret of a good relationship is to really find that level of humor in dark times and in sad times, is to be able to touch base and know that you can not laugh your way out of it. I'm not suggesting that. You've got to be able to talk and listen to each other. But what I mean is that we usually find ourselves really chuckling or giggling about something, even when things are really quite tough for us. And we've had some tough times, as all couples do, with our family, and you know you get through it by just staying strong together. And I think that's what they wanted. Well, that's what we brought to Ted Lasso, and it wasn't that difficult for us, which I hope that doesn't sound too boastful. um, it's just this, it's true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
No,
that's not
that's
boastful. It's something
great.
to be proud of.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That you
I
got to
I
be
am.
the stability. I think that's beautiful because we all need that anchor couple in our lives that go, they're doing great. Like this is goals, aspirational. What can I learn from you? You've been doing it for so long. I think that's beautiful.
Oh, thank you, Bunry. I do feel that with my students, often say that to me as well, and I've got lots of younger friendships, and they often say, "Oh, it's so." I just feel when I come over to visit you guys, I just feel like I can just be myself, and
Mm.
because you make it so, and yeah, I'm very. That always is a great compliment. So thank you both. That's very sweet of you to say that.
Nice.
So
Oh.
No problem.
are we done?
So yeah, be mindful of your time. I just wanted to say thank you again for coming on and joining us today. We really do appreciate it. Um,
It's a pleasure,
Thank
Mark.
you.
I've so enjoyed chatting to you. It's lovely. You've made it very easy for me, and I hope it's interesting to somebody. But
Oh,
you've certainly made
definitely.
me feel very welcome. And
Yeah.
I'll send on
Come
the
back
list.
anytime, please.
Oh,
Whenever you want.
oh, bless
Thank
you.
you.
I'll come back when I've got something else to tell you about.
Okay.
and
Well,
and
sounds
maybe
good.
maybe my darling husband will be with me then, because I would have brought him in if he wasn't in Edinburgh. But
Oh
we
yeah.
will we'll sort that. Have you had one with him yet?
No,
Have you?
you're
You haven't done.
you you
He's done so
you
many.
are you are our first. So we're
No.
happy. Yeah. So we're happy that you are our first too. So
Oh, that is so sweet. I had no idea. I thought, oh, they're
yeah.
obviously scraping the barrel now. They've had everybody else. Julie Higgins.
No, I think
Oh, bless you.
I'm glad you were the first person that we talked to. You're delightful to talk to. You're a very nice person. Like everything I said at the beginning, I still believe here at the end. So that's good.
Thank you both so much. Well, look, have a lovely rest of your day. I'm going into my evening here now, and you've just started your day, haven't you? Pretty much.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
9:30 here in LA. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So it's a great
Oh,
way to kick off the day. Thank you so
oh,
much.
thank you so much for having me, and have a great day too.
So until next time, folks, be curious, not judgmental, and keep rewatching. This is Ted Lasso signing off. As the man once said, the harder you work, the luckier you get.